Hey everybody, it's your pal Drew Geraci, and I got some more comics from my spinner rack. Well, let's get started with Iron Man, my main man. Always liked Iron Man since forever and a day. Cover, I think it's definitely Frank Giacoia inks. I'm not sure who did the poses. It might actually be with the hands and such. I think it might be Sal Buscema. So as I did last week, I talked about how he didn't do a lot of covers. He did the storytelling, and he was content with that once in a while. So this is part 2 of 2. Archie Goodwin became the writer-editor. George Tuska, Vinnie Coletta, who were like it was my favorite art team as a kid. Now, I know Vince Coletta, he really effed up some of a lot of Kirby stuff, but but at this time he was partnered up with Tuska for quite a while. They were all over the place. They hopscotched from different titles, from Avengers to Champions to whatever, and I always dug it. So the Blood Brothers, who were created by Jim Starlin, who fought The Thing and Iron Man back in Marvel Feature 11? I don't know. They're pretty brutish. They're two big bruisers. Well, Iron Man gets free, and the jets are cutting out. And he sinks again, and he's afraid his armor's weighing him down. And you see in the shadows, if you haven't looked at the cover, you won't know who it is. But it's Daredevil. So he is planning on getting a flight over to the West Coast because Karen Page is in trouble again, and Ghost Rider teams up with Daredevil in his later issues. See how they do that? That was always kind of fun, piecing the puzzles together. They were really tight-knit with their continuity. So these guys, they just lock cars out of the way. They don't care. And I really love that first panel where he's drowning, but Daredevil yanks him on. Now you're probably saying Daredevil's nowhere in Iron Man's strength, but Iron Man still had a grip on the rock. So I'm thinking with leverage, Daredevil, it was feasible for him to get him out. Because notice he didn't go very far. He didn't drag him all over the place. So he's like, well, okay, I'm all charged up. Give me an hour. He's like, I got a plane to catch. Well, I'll use Tony Stark's influence in my radio unit to delay that flight. Now I still have repairs to make. I love that part. That was a great idea that Archie had. It's like, hey, why not? So this guy's mucking about, looking around for some clues to some crime that is too long to get into because you'd have to be reading this book for a year. So this private eye detective shows up, and he's just a dick. He is Michael O'Brien, who is the half-crazed brother of Kevin O'Brien, who was the guardsman. He was a green version of Iron Man who went insane because for some reason the armor messed with his head, the helmet. And this guy here, this is actually Michael O'Brien in a mellow mood. Usually he's screaming and acting like a total nut. And then issue 97 is when he finally got the guardsman outfit on after showing up at like issue 82. He had to put up with this shit bag. And then he realized, Tony Stark, he's risking his own life. So here we go. I really love this, the old stuck girder trick. And he's going to put it in. So Dean Mulaney, who eventually become like co-publisher of Eclipse Comics, and so Iron Man comes to the rescue. Gets those old skates out. Love it. Except when they get tripped up. And George Tuska was a weightlifter. He was a real physical guy. I wonder if he must have played football a lot. You know, just the horse ride. And again, it's like even though Daredevil's way out of Blood Brothers weight class, he managed to use his tricks and chicanery. I love that. Got to keep driving this monster back. This is a great angle from the worm's eye view. They call it as if a worm were looking up, and then you see above, gets in the lamppost, takes it down. Good follow through on that page. And it turns out the two Blood Brothers they're weakened when the further they're apart. So Daredevil and Iron Man like moved them other parts of town. So Controller's another good character. It's fun. It's good stuff. Okay. Oop, I mean it. Hang on, everybody. Okay, look at this cover a little longer. Where in the heck? Oh, okay. All right. Now we got some. My pal Chuck Dixon, he will send me a care package of comics as he's purging his collection. And I do that too with my cousin and some other people, just move stuff around. And this is the early 80s when Marvel DC were really heavy into Baxter paper reprints. Now this wasn't, it was white paper. Now look at this. This is 2026 we're in, okay? We're in February 2026. This came out in 1988. And, you know, that's almost 40 years ago. Look how clean the paper is. And it's thicker, it's more sturdy, absorbs the ink and color a lot better. Through the 80s, starting with 82 or 83, both Marvel and DC were doing a lot of high quality reprints with their biggest titles and their biggest names, like Neil Adams' Green Arrow with Denny O'Neil. Marvel did a whole bunch of stuff too with X-Men with Roy Thomas and Neil Adams. This is Garcia Lopez, though, oddly enough. But God, it's such a beautiful cover. Look at that face. You know, that face there, you could easily screw that up if you're drawing it, but it works. That, the postures. So this is the Best of the Brave and the Bold, which was a Bob Haney book for many years that quite a few of them were done by Neil Adams, and then they got taken over by Jim Aparo, who did a fantastic job. So, really cool stuff. Some eye candy. And Bob Haney, that's a great face there with Robin. And Bob Haney, he didn't give a crap about continuity. It's like one issue, Bruce Wayne would be a senator, and then and it was like no reference to it before or after. So, really enjoyable stuff. I really recommend this. This is great. Now I got to get issue 1 through 5 because I had completely forgotten about this. So, Firestorm, Starman. By the way, this replaced what was a normal ad where they would be like, I don't know, like gimmicks, you know, like pepper gum or onion gum, you know, gag gifts, or they would have subscriptions to other books, or they would have never finished high school. So DC was really bad about that. Marvel did that for a couple of months, but in the late Silver Age, early Bronze Age, they did a lot. They would chop, not even like evenly, where you could like move this over here if you wanted to get rid of these panels and do a whole page. They would just chop them up in seemingly arbitrary angles, especially when Neil Adams was doing it, because his, you know, he never did a 9-panel grid, but that's okay. He's Neil friggin' Adams. The Titans also appear in Brave and the Bold, blah, 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 blah. So, and the Viking Prince from way back then, Bob Haney and a young Joe Kubert. So he was a big deal for a while in Brave and the Bold before it became a Batman team-up title. Robert Conagher, Russ Heath, a legend. Robin Hood. really fun. It's just cool. I mean, I definitely have to get these because I hadn't read. I mean, I read it, but I want to get the other ones. Man from U.N.C.L.E. Now, I never really watched Man from U.N.C.L.E. It looked like it was kind of dull to me, but you know that's because I was a kid. And then when I got older, I was like, I'm still not interested in Man from U.N.C.L.E. There was nothing that really gripped me, you know. When it came to spy stuff, I was more into like, what is it? Get Smart and James Bond, you know, opposite ends of the spectrum. EIEIO affair. This has a feel of like Men in Black, which wouldn't come out till later. And this is a '60s property, which is being published 1987. The artwork's pretty good. It's written by Stan Timmons, solid. Ken Panders, and then inking by Tom Dupa. So the art is actually very well done. I think the inking could have been a little more. It's hard to distinguish stuff. It's all like one big blob. I think like as the people further back, the line should be thinner. But you know what? Hell, that's still good. It's still good stuff. And it's a solid story. And the two guys from U.N.C.L.E, they decide to go help out this farmer. There's this big drought, and they can't find any of the electrolytes that help plants grow. So, little gag here. It's like, only thing is, one of you will have to sleep with my daughter. I would be honored. Oh yeah, what about it, boy? Napoleon, just like those farmer-daughter jokes you told me about on the way here. Uh-huh. And she goes, get supper, Ma. Okay, Pa. Your wife? Yeah, if she wakes up, give her a little bottle and she needs to be changed. So he meant literally the baby. Napoleon, I'm going to kill you. That's cute. Nice stuff. Nice folding the clothes. So it's a lot of fun. Yep, there we go. Really well done. Really well done. And but welcome to Journey into Mystery. Dig Me No Grave. This is a relaunch of a long-time Marvel / Atlas comic book. Probably / Timely. I don't know. But I had an episode where why did the Marvel Comics horror books fail? And a lot of it was because this is a great cover here, but the lettering, the trade dress was established so much as superhero style, and whereas DC, they had really scary looking imagery, and they didn't have a lot of logos going on. But nonetheless, I really enjoyed this. This is a real treat. Roy Thomas is adapting a Robert E. Howard story. Gil Kane and Tom friggin' Palmer. What a team. The only time I've seen them work together has been on covers. They've done a couple of covers together. So check out all the knots on that tree. And what's amazing is you can't, since it's a truncated story, you don't see a lot of the usual Kane features. I mean, that's just really amazing. Like some panels, I'd be hard pressed. I mean, I would know it would be Palmer inking, but I wouldn't know if it was Kane doing it. They make a great team. Wow, there's a King, classic King pose. Now we go to Steve Englehart and Ralph Reese, who's a man of mystery to me. He's only done like early '70s stuff by Marvel, and that's about it. I don't know if he was ever a full-time artist. Maybe I'm wrong. He could have been doing tons of art elsewhere. But yeah, this is Ralph Reese. He's got his inking style is wild, and his storytelling style here is pretty good. It's it's not earth-shattering. But it is spooky. Spooky, ooky, ooky. He's got, I mean, it's sort of like a Basil Wolverton kind of rendering. And that's what's wild about it, because I never associated with Wolverton on other books he's done. Here we go. Steve Skeet's Jim friggin' Starlin, inked by Mike Plug. Now, Jim Starlin was just starting out, and he was nowhere near. He wasn't near Captain Marvel, and it's just such a cool combination. And I think it works because, oh man, look at that! Look at that, man! Don't you love seeing those on the stands? And here you go. I got some really good shape. I don't know how much I paid for it, but really, really sweet shape. And then, let's miss. Then finally, Star Wars #6. I paid $5 for this, and believe it or not, because the book's, the cover at least, is about to come off. It's in horrible shape. But I bought Star Wars 1 when it came out, like 3 months before the movie, and that's how Marvel got it really cheap. And the first issue was so-so because there weren't enough dailies to tell you the story of Star Wars. It was a lot of yappity-yap in the first issue, and I had no interest in issue 2, issue 3, but by issue 4, which I don't have right here, that's when the movie came out. And I was like, oh my God. I went to the 7-Eleven in Penn Hills that was off of Rhode Road. And it's funny what you remember. And I got 4, 5, and 6. And it wasn't until the Treasury editions came out, quite a few Treasury edition reprints, that the whole story was available. But this, I remember, this book, it's such an interesting and odd 6 issues. In the Treasury edition, I have, it's 114 pages, which means 6 issues, which is, can you imagine 114 pages to tell the story of the original Star Wars movie? I refuse to say episode 4. And anyway, I don't know if we did that cover. It looks, I don't know if it's quite Chaykin-ish or what, because that's not very, I don't know, who cares? But the first issue was Howard Chaykin, pencils and inks, pretty cool. Then the next one was Howard Chaykin, inked by Steve Lee Aloha, as well as issue 3. And then by issue 4, I don't recall right off the bat, but by this time we had Rick Hoberg and Bill Ray inking it. And they brought a whole different feel to it. Now, Rick Hoberg, I only knew from What If. He did he did first issue? No. He did issue 6, and he did some other books. He did some great covers, and he also did a lot of All-Star Squadron, I believe. But that's just amazing. So the movie's been out a couple months by now. And back then, movies stuck around for a while. Like now, movies, even before, that the lockdown we had back in 2020, there were movies that just, like, if they won the weekend, that was great, and they'd be gone the next week. And there was just so many movies. But back then, 1977, movies would linger around for months and months. And then after they were done there, they would go to these secondary movies, that theaters that would be dirt cheap, like it'd be like $1 to see a movie way after everybody else has. And then HBO filled that void. But I like the colors. And it just looks really good with Hoberg and Bill Ray. And then since, 4 came out when the movie came out, they could do the other books more movie accurate. Even though there was a lead time they had to deal with. Ben Kenobi. Wow. That's my dog Sonny, just itching. Okay. do that voice. Yeah, that was great. And that was even more impressive than the original image of the movie, although when they redid the movie before the prequels, they did add that, like, big spiral explosion, which was cool. But, I remember I bought issue 7, hated it. And it, like, Roy Thomas wrote it, but he really didn't, I don't know, somehow he kind of thought it was partially, he had a green rabbit hopping around, green talking rabbit stood on his, back feet, and it was so dumb. It was so dumb. It's like, Roy, how did you, you brought this into the, the Marvel firmament, and now you kind of, bleh. So anyway, tell me what you think about Howard Chaykin and these guys, and these guys too, and from Ukulele, Batman and Teen Titans, and good old meat and potatoes, Iron Man. So that's it, everybody. You all have a great day, and my health's back to normal, and I thank you for all your kind comments on the comments sections. Please tell me what books you liked, what books you discovered them, how, if you found them in the wild, or did you first find Star Wars at like this newsstand down the street or a drugstore, or when the Baxter reprints started coming along. A lot of good stuff going on. So that's it, everybody. I will talk to you later. Bye.